Yes, good afternoon and a warm welcome to you from wherever you're watching from. My name is Tony Blair Onyango. Welcome to Face with the Gen Z. And before we start today, we are going to allow one of the Gen Zs to pray for us.
Hello. Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of your faithful and enkindle in them the power of your love. O God, who did instruct the hearts of the faithful by the light of the Holy Spirit, we pray that, O Father, you may guide all of us. Open our thoughts, open our minds. May your guidance, O God, light upon us. May you guide our thoughts that we may come with our conclusion, and actually what we are actually discussing may bring benefits to the whole world. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, brother, for that. I know Gen Z's previously said that we left church, not God.
I mean, it's very, very important. It's very important.
Yeah, so today we want to have a conversation about what happened in our country. That was 25th of June 2024, which changed the political discourse in our country forever. And 2 years down the line, we are still able to see the Gen Zs coming in numbers. That was last week on Thursday, this week on Thursday, where the Gen Zs came out to commemorate the lives of those who lost their lives during the protests. But we've actually been able to see also a couple of undertakings in our country. We've seen the compensation panel set up to try and compensate the victims, those who might have been injured, and even those who might have lost their lives in the 2024 Gen Z protests. And so today we ask ourselves, are there any successes we can count out, or maybe things which might have happened as a result of the protests that we had in 2024. And right about now, I want to introduce the Gen Zs who are in the house today. Maybe a round of applause because they have joined us today. Yes, so feel much welcome to REDRING, Face to Face with Gen Z. I want to allow you to introduce yourself. And to make it a bit interesting, please also tell us the name of your county governor. Let's start here.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Hina Cherop, and the name of my county governor is Joshua Irongo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Laikipia County.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Okeo Rose. I'm a political scientist, and the name of my county governor is Gladys Wanga. Thank you.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
I'm Mundi Isaac from Homa Bay County, currently a law student from JQuad, waiting to join my fourth year come September. So the name of my governor is Her Excellency Gladys Wanga.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Kevin.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Well, my name is Kevin Ochingogola, a political psychologist and the youngest Secretary General Bunge la Wananchi Kibra. And the name of my governor is Johnson Sakaja.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Kidova James, and I'm from Taita Taveta County. But actually, the name of my MP, is Bwire. Yeah, is actually
Governor?
Yeah. Well, no, let's leave it that. Let's leave it that one. First of all, no, alininyima basari ya 10K. Asabisha siku graduate last year. Yeah, so just leave it by that. Yeah, well, I rank Bwire because they actually helped me a lot in my campus education. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Dominic Owino Nyango, final year student of electrical engineering. I'm from Homa Bay County.
No, now you can tell us the deputy governor.
The deputy governor, I don't know the deputy governor. But the former one, I can only remember the former one. That was Yugi Magwanga. The governor is Excellency Gladys Nyasuna Wanga. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Gen Zs. Maybe you can clap for ourselves. Kumbe tunajua hizi vitu. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Why we do that is because we really want us to discuss from a point of knowledge, and it is important that we engage with the current affairs of our country, sindio? So kama hujasema governor correctly, please do your homework. Next time tutauliza MCA, sawa sawa. Yes, and at this moment I want to introduce my panelists who are going to help us unpack our topic today, and I'm going to start from you, Advice. I know you are not new to us. You've been with us a couple of times. So maybe for purposes of those who've not been able to hear from you before, Karibu, Advice.
Asante sana. Thank you very much. My name is Mundalo Advice. For those who've not been able to interact with me before, I'm a communication strategist. I'm a political strategist. I run an organization called Two Sense Leadership Institute, where we basically do leadership training and communication consultancy. and I'm a political animal as well, and an aspirant in the upcoming election.
Wow. Yes. Thank you so much for that advice, and I'm hoping Gen Zs mnaona venye panelists wanajiintroduce. Awasemi tu my name is Hina and my governor is but ni sawa sawa. Next to advise is Joan, please.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Joanna Nyango Bunga. I'm a Gen X, I'm not Gen Z. I come from Migori County. I live in Nairobi, so I don't know whether I have two governors. Ochilo is my governor in Migori, and Sakaja is my governor in Nairobi. I'm a lawyer, I'm an economist, I'm a mother, I'm a mentor, I'm a patriot. I love Kenya, and I want Kenya to succeed. Yeah.
Viva. Thank you so much for that.
Gen X.
I hope me
Yes,
capture.
Gen X.
I mean, you look Gen Z. You look 21.
Hey. Comrade, this comrade is overwise.
That can mean many things. I think Kiloma needs glasses.
But before you go to Mokua, maybe advice wewe hujatuambia gavana wako.
Oh, my governor is former Speaker of the Senate, Kenneth Makelo Lusaka in Bungoma County, but I work in Nairobi.
Okay.
So my governor here is Johnson Sakaja, and I live in Kiambu County.
We? Uko na watatu. Yes,
Yeah,
let's
my governor is Wamatangi. Yeah. So generally I'm a Kenyan, full Kenyan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Mokua,
Yes,
take it away.
my name is Dismas Mokua. I'm a political risk analyst. I live and work in Nairobi. Unlike my other panelists, I've got only one governor, Sakaja. Thank you.
Asante sana. And then finally we have Mheshimiwa Martin Ogindo.
Yeah, just like you say, my name is Martin Ogindo. I live in Kiambu, and I went to school in Kiambu. And my governor is His Excellency President William Ruto.
Okay, sir. So welcome once again to Face with the Gen Z, and we want to begin right away. On the 25th of June, that was Thursday, we were able to see a couple of activities in our country. Part of the Gen Zs were commemorating the lives of those who have been lost. Some say they were protesting. I don't know about you Gen Zs who are with me here today. So perhaps it would be a good opportunity to tell us what you are doing on 25th. Ni nini tulifanya? Kwanza we Hina, were you on the streets?
Okay, thank you, Tony. Personally, I was just indoors. I was afraid because of the security issues, because of the past demonstrations. So I was just following the news at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Asante sana. So maybe you can tell us mbona ulikuwa kwa nyumba, ulikuwa unaogopa like nini exactly?
Okay, in the past there have been goonism, so I was afraid of going to the streets.
You're afraid of goons?
Yeah.
Sawa. Ipatia nani, you can give Dominic here to tell us kama yeye pia alikuwa kwa street. What were you doing on 25th, Dominic?
I was also at indoors.
You are?
Indoors.
Okay.
I was following online actively. Yes.
Why were you not on this? It's like...
because I realized that, you see, most of this protest, there are some... We are going with good intention, but there are others that are taking the advantage of it. For example, there are people who are the goons, for example, who are taking the advantage of the protest in looting of the resources. So
okay,
I decided just to stay indoors. That is the reason, yes.
Sasa, maybe you can move to your neighbor pia tuambie whether he was in the street. What were you doing? Were you celebrating, commemorating, protesting? What exactly were you doing on 25th June?
Yeah, factually, I was at home actually writing. There was like an assignment I was given. I went for an interview on Wednesday. So I actually was supposed to draft a proposal that was going to like land me the job. So literally couldn't go even if I wanted to. But I was there in the June 25th, the June 25th, 2024 one. I was actually then, I was working at Arambe. The Arambe, it's an equity bank at Arambe here. Yeah, just opposite Parliament. When they went to hit the mchele of the Parliament, I was still there. So I actually ate tear gas that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move to Kevin. Kevin, were you part of the 2024 Gen Z protest?
2024, yes. And That's some memories that can never leave my mind, because I saw someone being killed. Yeah, I saw the brain, yeah, being swallowed on the ground. That was very bad for me. And 2026, I too was on the ground, but then it wasn't that much serious because most people misinterpreted what we were really going to do in the ground. We were not going for a protest. Some people thought that we are going for a protest. It was just a remembrance for those who lost their lives. Yeah.
That is the 25th on Thursday.
No, 25th on Thursday. Yeah. So most people say that, we are going to protest. No.
So for you are commemorating the life.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. To you, Isaac, what we saw this year was quite different from whatever we have been seeing over the past 2 years. It was not as widespread. It was not as deadly as we saw in the previous years. Is this a new realization by the young people that indeed maybe a change of tact?
Okay, thank you very much. Indeed, things have really changed. We take an example of the 2024. It was purely Gen Zs, but as times goes by, we see this movement being diluted every now and then because we see people like the politicians who find themselves against the government. They try coming to be the messiahs in this case, and the Gen Zs personally, at personal levels, they have different views regarding these specific individuals. So that one tends to discourage people not to turn up in these major things. And for Thursday's event, it was just, I believe it was just a commemoration, not a protest as many people thought it to be. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Isaac. To you now, Rose, what do you make of the whatever activities we had on 25th of June this year?
Personally, I saw it as a day for commemoration and also a national remembrance for the fallen soldiers. I highly discourage the protests that some of the politicians were calling upon because I realize these are people who want to ride on people's emotions and to infiltrate the protests for their own gain. Yes.
Thank you so much. And from when you look at what we had on 25th June, that Thursday, you see that for the first time we are not able to see some people lose their lives, for example, which is something that has been very rare. The past demonstration we were able to see young people losing their lives, but for the first time we saw that only, I think, maybe a couple of arrests were made, but we saw really that there was not that kind of combative or confrontation between the police na wananchi sana. What do you think might have been the reason for that?
I think there has been a change because police brutality was one of the major issues during the protests. But right now we have not been seeing any loss of lives. Yeah, so I think there's been a change for police brutality, one of the issues that the Gen Zs were really advocating for. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rose. Maybe you can come over to Biko now. Maybe you can tell us, what do you think about what happened on 25th? And maybe you can also tell us whether you are part of the streets, in case you had also been there before, and why you are not part of the demonstrations this year.
Yeah, thank you very much. I apologize for arriving a bit late.
Oh, sorry, by the way, before you do, you can introduce yourself and also tell us the name of your county deputy governor.
Definitely, Tony. My name is Steve Biko Molo. I'm a real estate investment consultant where I help my clients achieve financial independence through low risk, high return, affordable, amazing apartments. I come from Kisumu County, and my deputy governor is Dr. Matthew Kowili. Yes. And now to your question, Tony, I was a part of the Gen Z protest in 2024 because at the time we were really emotional about the financial decision. Finance bill then, we felt that there were certain aspects that were not right. But with the one for 2026, I didn't attend because, first of all, I understood what the finance bill was. In as much as we were commemorating the lives of the ones we lost, which was very tragic, I felt it was not necessary for me to go to the streets because it was too emotional for me. I wanted to embrace that moment in my solitary at home, as I reflect on the gains we've gained as a country and as a youth. And I also thought that the government was a bit hard our message 2024, and that's why I believe there was no bloodshed in the 2026 your demonstration. Yeah.
And it's still on you, because maybe you can also tell us, because kuna wale pia wamekuwa wakisema ati part of the reason why they felt it was not necessary is because we have we've also seen demonstrations in the past. We've had people lose their lives through massacres na vitu kama hizo, kama you could remember the Wagala massacre, and even people who lost their lives in 2007. But at least now tumeona pia kuna some sort of compensation where there's a committee that has been set up to try and maybe try and compensate these people. So do you think that could have been also maybe one of the gains of the protest of 2024?
Yeah, definitely. In as much as we can argue that we cannot replace the lives of the ones lost, but ideally, showing a form of compensation is at least the government acknowledging that indeed there were some wrongs done, and they are willing to be part of making that wrong right.
Okay. So
I believe it was a good move. It was a good show by the government, and maybe that could be a contributing factor as to why there wasn't a chaotic demonstration as was anticipated.
Okay. Thank you, Biko, for that. Maybe you can go to you, James, before I cross over to the panelists. James, you can tell us what you think about that sort of compensation where we are seeing victims being given some bit of money maybe to try and kuweka mahali, unaona? Because there are those who argue that uwezi ni alafu unanipatia do vitu kama hizo. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the gesture. What I just don't understand is you're saying that you're compensating for someone who was abducted or maybe lost. Yeah, but how do you compensate me 50K and you haven't shown me the body, nor have you made like efforts to actually find that person till now?
Okay.
That's like 2 years down the line. Yeah, so I mean that doesn't make sense.
But you know, there are those who argue that they're not compensating maybe to like replace the justice. It is not substitute for the justice that they are going concurrently.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the gesture. Gesture is actually okay, but some situations actually need a bit of more initiative.
Okay.
I mean, instead of compensating just now, yeah, I mean, the dead people and the one who are like in hospitals, it's okay to compensate them.
Okay.
Like those who are like haven't found their relatives until now, I mean, you don't just put in more effort to actually find the solution. I mean, are they like dead? Are they like thrown somewhere? Like I think that should be like
okay, let
small
me go.
bit of closure.
Oh, I get your point. Let me go to Kevin. Kevin, maybe you can also tell us, because we've seen what is the difference between an abduction and an arrest, because he has alluded to people being abducted. Tofauti abduction na kuwa arrested. Because siku hizi mtu akidisappear tu hivi kidogo hata amejificha tu mahali, he has been abducted. Tumeshaona hiyo kitu kwa nchi yetu by the way.
So before I answer that, allow me speak of this. And let us be clear from the beginning. There is no amount of money that can never compensate a life. There is a family somewhere whose only breadwinner or the sense of hope has been lost. We lost Denzel Omondi, a JKUAT student who was really bright. I know we can never bring him back, but I feel, apart from just compensating, there was a panel that was formed. And actually the IPOA was also talking about really trying to get the cops who did this, or the cops who shot these people, be held accountable. I've never seen even one who is now resting in committee maximum prison. If there is one, you may let me know. Number 2, I don't really take it lightly when our government or any other government says that because I killed your child, I now pay you. Honestly, it hurts more pain to someone who I don't really find the sense in that.
Yes, Kevin, and we feel you. We feel what you are saying, and so our question would then be: do we then do away with these compensations, so that we just allow them to wait for this justice?
You see, when you look at I'm a political animal, and I will go by the 10 points agenda. Compensation was one of them.
Yeah.
So, to answer to some extent, I will say that it's okay because it's fulfilling that which was in the 10 points agenda. Okay. But honestly, from a family that is grieving, I feel it doesn't still make more sense. Because I know of a family in Kibra where I'm the Secretary General Bunge la Wananchi, that the tear gas was thrown onto the Mabati house and the kid that was there suffocated and died. I do not know how that is going to be compensated. I know of people who were just sort live uko Kibra wenye sasa hivi mtu ana mguu. So I don't really find the sense in that. Now I want to answer your question between abduction and arrest. Abduction, from the layman's language, or from where I understand, or
Yes,
from where I stand
from
from me, I feel abduction can be done by any person. An arrest is only done by the police. Is the only person who is mandated to do the arrest. But abduction, you can be abducted by either the government or any other person can just come and abduct you because of maybe kuna venye mmekosana ama kuna venye umempitia kidogo.
Thank you,
Yes,
Kevin.
thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, for that and giving us very elaborate presentation. To you, maybe, Rose, before I now eventually cross over, Rose, maybe, what is the place of humanity? Because we've equally seen some politicians now take advantage of the situation that we have now to settle politicals. Because you see protest victims being paraded every now and again, wanaekwa wanalialia hapo. Of course, we understand whatever, but you know, sometimes when you want to console somebody, unajaribu asahau ile kitu ambayo ilitendeka, unaona. But when you keep on reminding these people that you see lost your son nini, kila time ni tu kutafuta mahali kamera iko so that anaonyeshwa to whip emotions across the country. What do you say to that?
I'll still maintain my point that the people who do this are the people who ride on people's emotions and manipulate them so that it can gain them politically. So I highly discourage that, honestly. And I think that is devoid of humanity. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, my Gen Zs, and quite a very difficult topic to discuss today. But at this moment, I want to introduce now the panelists to help us unpack this. And I want to start with you, Mundalo. I want to start with you so that at least you set the pace, because you've heard what the Gen Zs are saying. We have got people who lost their lives, and there's been attempts to try and compensate these people. Some of them were breadwinners for their families, at least. And there are those who argue that no amount of compensation can restore the lives or maybe the harm that was done. So perhaps maybe you could give us a bit of context and maybe what needs to be done.
Thank you very much. First of all, I appreciate the diversity of opinion that we are having on the subject matter. I think the first thing I think, and from where I sit, is that everyone and people who lost their lives, not just in the protest of the finance bill, but for every other protest, deserve time to be allowed to commemorate the people that they lost. The least we can do as a country is want to politicize such a matter. Because most of the time when we talk about such matters, you know, one of the hardest things in Kenya today is to be an honest and genuine person. Because for your comment, we must box it into political context. Because the truth is that once people have lost lives, they have families. The feeling that those families have is way more important and higher than the feeling of the rest of us. It does not matter how much we want to talk about it. Unfortunately for us as a country, every time we talk about the people who lost their lives and the people who have been hurt in demonstrations, the voice that we give the utmost attention is the voice of the activists and all the rest of us who are not directly affected. And then we forget the voice of those ones who are directly affected. And that's why for me, for such conversations, those ones who are directly affected really are the ones to be listened to. Compensation, should they be compensated or not? It should not be more about my opinion and your opinion and the opinion of another person. Our opinion should not rank higher than the opinion of those people who actually lost their people, because most of the time, our opinions are politically charged. I come from a place where when I was in the streets, when we were in the Azimio days and the ODM days, when I was that side of the political terrain, one of the things that we constantly asked for is Raila Odinga always asked for compensation of the victims of the violence, including the post-election. The cornerstone conversation, in fact, we have always said that the people who lost their lives during post-election violence need to be compensated. No government has ever done it. It has always been a story every time. It's just a headline. it's a subject of political rhetoric in the rallies. And so, as one of the people who does not do doublespeak, I find it so weird that today, when there is a government that wants to do it, I want to now say that compensation is not important. That will be doublespeak. We have been insisting on compensation all this time. Someone has chosen to do it. When they choose to do it, because it does not favor my side of the politic, I run away and then say, no, compensation is not important. But I'm the same person who has been saying, let them be compensated. And true, as the sun rises from the east, the truth is that compensation is not justice. That is also true. But who has the responsibility of justice? Because we must also be able to point our fingers where the blame is. Because when we talk about justice, we talk about the judiciary. But the problem with us as a country is we talk compensation, we blame executive. We talk justice, we still want executive. So we want the president to compensate. We also want the president to provide justice. But we also want the president not to interfere with the functions of other arms of government. It becomes counterproductive. Then we are more or less
advice, there's a way ladies normally say nasikia sijui aje. So maybe that is the feeling of Kenyans. We don't know what we want. Is that the feeling?
The feeling, that's why I started by telling you that one of the hardest ways to live in Kenya today is to be genuine and honest. Because when someone raises their genuine concern over something or their genuine opinion over something, the first thing we do is to label them. So today we think that when you say compensation is the right thing to do, you are a two-term person.
But how many wangapi walikuwa nafikiria hivyo by the way? Si hivyo ndio tunafikirianga.
So the conversation then loses sight. We lose sight of the reality of the conversation. Then it's now not about the reality of the issue. Because is compensation right or wrong? It is not about which political side are you. And if all of us are genuine about each other, we will be able to understand that it is okay for people to be compensated, because that is one thing we've said all through. Even courts give compensation. Rigathi was just given 50 million the other day. Even the courts have been able to allocate compensation in several instances where they will be able to say, your rights were violated, and because of this, we are saying you should be paid 2 million shillings. You should be paid 50,000 shillings. We have never said that is wrong. That has always been there. Sometimes, even yourselves, someone has done a wrong thing to you, and you feel like, okay, fine, this already happened, and someone says, by the way, I'm so sorry. Just to show you how sorry I am, I have been able, let me give you this. It does not replace justice. But the problem is sometimes we think that it's a replacement of justice. But justice, and there's also this mentality that we have, and I've had this statement so many times, you kill them, then you pay them. And my question has always been, who killed them?
I mean, you said to shoot them in the legs.
So who killed people? Because people are not killed by governments, they are killed by people. So if a policeman has shot someone dead, that is a policeman who should be held to account. Okay. It is in the same way.
Please restrain yourself. I shall allow you time to respond, please. Yes, just give your questions. I'll give you opportunity.
I will address all those concerns.
I'll give you time to ask questions. By the way,
we have so many people who have died courtesy of decisions of the judiciary. Did we say government has killed them? Okay? So we must be able to lay the blame. We must be able to have conversations that are contextual, not emotional. Okay. The reason why you are so interested in speaking now is not because your height of reason is high. It's because your height of emotion is high.
Advice, please leave it.
And that's why when a policeman has been able, that's what I'm telling, we must be very, very far. Because most of these emotional things, they don't help us solve the problem. So we become annoyed and say, government has killed people, fine. Then after we get annoyed, actually nothing happens. And then later on, then we say, but the police have not been held accountable. You see, we are saying the police. The police, it must be specified. It's this person and this person and this person. I'm not saying they should not be held to account, but I'm saying let's point the fingers the right direction. When we say 3 people, I saw the report, and the report said only 3, I think.
Yeah, 3 currently.
3 have been held to account or something like that. And we got so furious. But my question is, furious to who exactly? Because we should be able to be furious to the judiciary and ask, you, the judiciary, since these things came to you, what have you been able to do? And then when we get context, we'll also understand that this delay is happening for so many Kenyans. It's only that this thing is the one that is highlighted. We have people outside there who are waiting for cases about the inheritance that their parents left them. And the case takes too long until they also die without having that inheritance in the first place. Yeah? So can we be able to then focus on the major issue and say, what is the issue with the judiciary? Yeah? We have so many people today who are struggling at court cases left, right, and center. We have people who have not been paid their pensions just because of some issues around the court system. And they are waiting for a very long time. So if we were very objective, we would be able to use this delay to question the judiciary about so many other delays. But because we most of the time want to only hold emotional conversations, we only want to say only 3 have been done. And then who do we blame? William Ruto.
Thank you, advice. Thank you, advice for that. And normally we say here at Reading that all that you know is not all that you should know. So today we are going to be challenged, and it is our hope that by the time you are leaving this place, you shall have learned something. We say you unlearn, you learn, and then you relearn. So at this moment, I want to bring in Joanne. And if you're watching for the first time, please make sure you do subscribe and share. So Joanne, to you, there's this feeling that perhaps maybe then there's some level of a way in which we are misusing our anger. We are not able to interrogate correctly and maybe to hold the right people to account. And therefore, there's always a shortcut as to we blame the president. And one thing is coming very clearly from advice that whereas the political responsibility lies with the president, the criminal culpability lies with the individual police officer that shot somebody. Not all policemen by the pia shoot kila mtu, si ndio? See, some of us have been in demonstrations, lakini si kila mmoja wetu hapa ameshuti. Ama Ina, you have been shot before? Not yet. So my question to you, Joanne, would then be, what is so important about the commemoration of this 25th June protest? Because I believe we've equally had victims of massacres and other maybe happenings that have happened in our country. But we see, especially even when you look at the victims, there's a lot of obsession also with the likes of some of the victims, for example, Rex Masai, the mother of Kennedy. But we also know of cases such as the case of Baby Pendo previously. So perhaps you could give us a bit of context, kidogo.
Thank you very much. And it's always a pleasure to have a conversation with Gen Z. And I like that you're showing up. You know, as a young people, you're showing up. And because of your showing up, there's this heated conversation that's going on. I like that people are reading the finance bills since 2024. You know, those are good things that your picketing has brought about. However, you people Gen Z needs to be to be tolerant. I think you're not tolerant, and so there's a lot of politicians who are riding on your emotions wrongly. And also considering that you are a majority in the population, and the way you're swayed very well, your emotions are swayed, is you're allowing yourselves to be misused, and it's something that you need to think about. One, you have the advantage of the internet. Before you consume, digest, internalize, swallow information, please just go back and do your research on social media, because information is there, information that occurred even many years before some of us were born, before our parents were born. So it's not like we lack information. We have a lot of information on the wide web, as we call it. So what I would say, it is wrong, and we sympathize with the families who lost members, you know, families who lost opportunities of livelihood. It's not a good space to be in, and I believe that yes, it's right to sympathize with them. But then again, as we sympathize with them, let's just hold back and think again. 2024 was not the first time that police brutality happened. It's not a good thing for police to kill the people they're supposed to protect, and I'm not condoning that, but sometimes also they are provoked, they're human, and I'm not saying that whatever they did is good, but they're human, sometimes they are pushed. And I want to just remind us of brutalities that have happened in this country. And you can go on online and just confirm this. I don't know whether you've heard of the brutalities that happened in Kisumu in 1969 at the opening of Jaramogi. That time it was called Russia Hospital, where the president then, Kenyatta I, as he's called, had a tiff with Jaramogi Oginga Odinga at the inauguration of that hospital. Lives were lost. And lives were not lost of old people, but even children were shot dead because of the scuffles that happened. That's one time when state was recorded as having consumed, for lack of another word, its people. Have you heard of the Wagala massacre? Yeah, read about the Wagala massacre. Have you heard of there's a lot of election violences that were happening in 1997 during Moi's time. State took away people. 2007, I don't know whether you guys were born in 2007. How old were you? There was killings by the state. Come to Kenyatta too. There's been killings by state. Ruto's is about 60. I'll get the statistics. I have them somewhere on my phone. So as we are commemorating Gen Z, let's also understand there were Gen Zs. There were Gen Xs who were Gen Zs, who also fought for these spaces that we have currently. A lot of them died and were buried. If you check my Twitter handle in 2023, I pinned something on my Twitter handle where I was saying they also have names. And that time I was mad because I thought that Luos were being killed in Kisumu. And I was like, Luo lives matter, right? Yeah. So I think we need to step back. Commemorations are good things. There are things that remind us, there are times that remind us about, loved ones who we've lost for whatever reason, and they are good. But what is a commemoration? To you, Gen Z, is it going to the street and causing havoc? No. Is that what it is? So why are you allowing politicians to inflame your emotions so that as you're going to the streets, you're going with another agenda? Why is it that when doctors petition, how kimbia wanavunja vitu? When teachers demonstrate, so-called, they go, they walk slowly, sometimes they're even escorted, they give their petition wherever they are. And for me, I think even what you need to ask for, if you want to be reminded of these friends of yours, people you related with and are gone, maybe you can have a monument with their names, like what happened during the bombing of the American embassy. There's a plaque that has names of those people who are lost. And I think on the road to Kisumu as well, what is that place called? Salga, where a lot of deaths happened on road accidents. There's also a plaque. So let's learn to do our things in a civil manner. Compensation is not necessarily a bad thing. Ni kupanguza mtu macho. Like when you lose somebody and you hold funerals for them, mnapeanaga pesa ya kusaidia, si ndio? It's to kuvuta macho, pole, this has happened. We are not able to bring your person back. But it doesn't mean that we lose the justice angle of it. I believe, how many of you have read that, the Kenya National Human Rights Report? Semeni ukweli.
Nani amesoma?
Nani ameisoma?
Who knows the existence of that report?
even as we are mad about this thing about compensation. Compensation is not the beginning and the end of holding whoever we are supposed to hold to account. There's justice. These people the police have to be brought to book. And just like as been rightfully said, when you go to work as a person, maybe some of you have not been employed yet, there are areas where you're personally responsible for your work, right? Yeah. So when you mess there, mkubwa wako atavutwa, nani atavutwa, or who will take responsibility? Yourself. So I think we need to clamor for police to be held responsible rightly, because that's the only time when akifikiria kufanya kitu atasema, hii maneno itanipeleka jela, will mess me up. But we can't go shouting at the president. He's not omnipresent. You know, he can't be everywhere. He's actually delegated authority variously because he can't be at the police, he can't be in hospitals, he can't be in the spaces where we expect him to be. And that's why I think we are politicizing this whole thing of compensation wrongfully, and also giving the wrong information or the wrong feeling to families that have lost loved ones. Let's go right back. Look for that 42-page report. Read it. Alafu sasa to have this conversation about compensation, because justice has to be granted to the families who lost their loved ones. That must be done. But before we do that, tupanguze machozi.
Asante sana. I think that was very profound, and I'm really learning a lot, especially today, because personally I've been part of so many WhatsApp groups where we contribute money to help the bereaved families. I've never known that is compensation. Kumbe I've been trying to compensate. Sindio, si hata nyinyi mmekuwa part of those groups. Yeah, so I'm happy that at least we are willing to listen to one another, and this is different from conversations zenye tunakuanga nazo pale nje. Najua saa hizi hata tungekuwa tunasikilizana. Kwanza huyu bro hapa ni kama angeshanipiga hedi. Yes. Yeah, but I'm happy now. Over to you, Mokua. Maybe you can also give us your overall remarks, response to what the Gen Zs have been able to say, and also maybe how can young people, especially the Gen Zs, point out the hypocrisy in politicians, because we see a lot of weeping, especially emotionally. Yani, there's just a way in which politicians look for one thing and then they run with it. And so if you're not very keen as a Gen Z, you might find yourself following blindly. And then the other thing also is, during the mandamanos, there are some politicians who are conspicuously absent. I don't know whether you people realize, but I'll come to you later on. Yes, Mokua.
You know, as advice indicated, when you're having a conversation, you've got the three options. Either you can work with facts, or you work with emotion, or you mix the two. But if you're going to have a conversation around emotions, or you mix emotion with facts, then you're unlikely to make progress. Because, you know, emotions just remain emotion. And successful politicians all over the world, they play around with people's emotions. And that is what happened last week. When people said that we must go to the streets, that close your shops, there's a governor who told people to stay at home. And for lawyers who will tell you that when you are going to exercise your human rights, that your human rights must not step on my rights. You may want to go and have this celebration, commemoration, but what if I don't care about that thing and I want to sell my bananas along Moi Avenue? Why should the fact that you want to go and commemorate subject me to loss, income loss on that day? Or in the process of having a demonstration, you decide to come and step on my baby, or you step on my produce, and I've just gotten a facility to buy avocado so that I can make a profit. So in my view, all Kenyans, especially Gen Z, must develop capacity of separating emotions from facts. If you do not do that, then politicians and political actors will misuse you. For instance, part of the reason why we have tribalism in Kenya, and towards every general election, politicians tell us that we need to unite. Number one, who tells them that we are not united? And if we are not united, who tells them that we want to unite? Maybe Kenya is strong when we are not united, or maybe Kenya is strong when we are united. But unfortunately, there's this saying, hook, line, and sinker, and politicians want to do that for majority of people. And especially for Gen Z, I've seen Gen Z falling victim to this, because the politicians who are wiping up emotions score an A in that. For instance, when you went to the streets 2024, obviously there were offending clauses, but they were removed. By the time members of the National Assembly were discussing those pieces of legislation and presenting them to the president for his signature, the offending clauses, all of them had been removed. But guess what? Because of that emotional tension, emotional buildup, nobody wanted to listen to what the president said, or even the members of the National Assembly, that we have removed the offending clauses. So they said, even if you remove the offending clauses, but this administration is still corrupt. So now you look for another reason. You've already taken a decision, I must go to the streets. So if it's not about the finance bill, then let me look at the minister's chronometer. It's an expensive one. Let me look at his lifestyle. Well, he used to put on a counter suit worth 10,000. Now he's putting on a suit for 800,000. Where did he get this money? Let me go to the streets. Even for the last, the one which has just been signed into a piece of law, we all remember some members of the National Assembly said, I don't like this clause. But the clause doesn't exist. When they're told, Father, then can you please present this clause? Then the clause says it's here, I don't see it.
It's too big.
Then again, you've had some members of the National Assembly describing themselves as Ivy League economists. And Africa is their business, so they understand economics. But on the material day, when the rubber meets the road, they're missing in action. Like, for instance, the lady on my left is a lawyer. If I ask her, when she's supposed to represent somebody at the courts, and she's supposed to be there at 9 o'clock, and she does not show up at 9 o'clock, she can come back and offer apologies till the cows come home. But the fact remains, when she was supposed to be at the High Court at 9 o'clock, she was missing. Can you imagine you've got a patient who's supposed to undergo surgery at a hospital, and the medical doctors are supposed to be there at 10 o'clock. But that medical doctor, I don't know how to pronounce this name, the one who gives you a chemical and you sleep.
Anesthesia.
That one. Supposed to be there at 9 o'clock. But this fella at 9 o'clock is having a machoma somewhere. You cannot forgive that kind of a person. And I'm really hoping that Gen Z, because you've got octane energy, you're going to punish members of the National Assembly who abscond duty. Members of the National Assembly have got 3 responsibilities. The most important is legislation. And the most important piece of legislation are legislations around the finance bill, appropriations. So on the material day, when it's being discussed, why are you missing in action? You may have realized that a number of members were missing in action. Well, they said, okay, we don't like this finance bill, we don't like the clauses. But when they were told, if you don't like a particular clause, can you suggest an amendment? They were nil by mouth. All of them went to the parliamentary catering room. They got ice cubes, wakaeko kwa mdomo, and they couldn't speak. Now, and it's very disappointing that the majority of Gen Z identify with those members of the National Assembly or even the Senate who lie to you. Like, for instance, when people are saying that we need to have a new leadership, and one group says 1 term, and another one says 2 term. The whole essence about democracy is a marketplace of ideas. You bring your ideas, then we have a policy conversation. And based on the ideas you bring to the table, we vote for you. But a number of people want to run for office today. When you tell them that, can you give us your policy presentations? They say, you to discuss when I get sworn in. But you see, we want to elect you based on your ideas. And I'd like these Gen Zs, that wherever, even from an MCA level, when somebody tells you, I don't like this finance bill, tell them, can you point out what you don't like? And then can you suggest an alternative? Can you give a proposal? Start straight from your MCAs, any person seeking elective position. If they tell you, I don't like this, challenge them. And the panelists on my left have said that most of you have got smartphones. So this information is actually easily available. Do not allow politicians to mislead you. I come from Western Kenya, where we place a huge premium on funerals. You must attend funerals. If you don't go for a funeral, you're going to lose your social capital. And if you don't attend, you may find that you're burying yourself because nobody will show up. But guess what happens when politicians come for a funeral? They do not see mourners. They see voters. In fact, in parts of Kis where I come from, politicians have been banned from attending funerals. They're not allowed to attend funerals because they normally have what we refer in our mother tongue as Jolwedo or Kandayamuko. So people go sit in that funeral and they know when speeches are about to take place. So this elected leader would be somewhere having a cup of coffee or tea or alcoholic beverage, and they know this is the right time. So they come in, they address people, And when they're moving out, they say that if there's anybody who would like some little money to go and buy, food on their way home, follow me. And that is how the funeral comes to an end. 90% of the people follow them. And I know this happens also in Western Kenya. Actually, from Advices County, there's a politician who is notorious for that. As soon as the funeral comes to an end, the same happens in churches. How is it possible that a politician can attend 7 masses in a day or 7 church services in a day? But you see, they don't go to address congregants. They go to address voters. So even for you right now, there are a number of these politicians who have been described as political vultures. They do not see you as human beings. They see you as people that they can play around with your psychology. You said you're a political psychologist. They can play around with your psychology so that you vote for them. Those politicians, believe you me, majority of them do not care whether when you come for that demonstration in the morning, whether you've had your breakfast, whether you're going to have lunch, whether or not you stop a bullet. In fact, and it's sad to say this, but let's separate facts from emotion. When you have a demonstration and the Gen Zs do not stop a bullet, stopping a bullet here, I mean being shot, or when you're not beaten, or when there's no fire.
It's not successful.
Then they say this mandamano, we have challenges.
Right.
We have challenges. Now, we even have politicians and parts of civil society. When somebody dies, they'll come to your funeral, not because they want to come and console with the family, but because they want to. You mentioned that if they're going to be cameras, they want to be identified. They take photos. You may have seen them at Serena. A number of them, I don't know whether they had breakfast with the victims at Serena, or they had breakfast at Serena and met with those people outside there. They did a beautiful news conference. But when they said, let's go to the National Assembly, one group walked and another one jumped to these vehicles you refer to as gas guzzlers.
Yeah, guzzlers, fuel guzzlers.
Tinted. And they disappeared into thin air. A number of them appeared later on to do a news conference with some of the victims' family and friends. So, which is the reason why I saw this political psychologist here is becoming very, very, very emotional. Do not allow another human being in the name of a politician to treat you like toilet paper, because that is how they treat you. Do not allow a politician to treat you like a special purpose vehicle to achieve his personal objective. And never, ever even entertain the idea of dying because of a politician.
Okay.
Well, there's been a challenge that, if you're going to demonstrate, come with your sons and daughters. Even if they bring their sons and daughters, you must pursue your selfish interests to the hilt. But if you think that stopping a bullet on behalf of a politician is your selfish interest, then by all means go bare chest and stop as many bullets as possible.
So let us.
I want to
Okay,
excuse
please.
me, TPO. I want to just reiterate on something that you said about emotions and just doing things for the camera. And there's a clip that's doing the rounds on social media on Yvonne Okwara. You've seen it, where the commemoration and the politicians, I'll call them politicians, were in the presence of one of the victims' mother. And when tear gas was thrown, they had their bodyguards.
It had not been thrown.
Oh, it hadn't.
It had just been imagined that it could be.
Yeah. Had their bodyguards take them into their guzzlers, those fuel guzzlers, and this lady was left here stranded. And yet you're commemorating her son's death.
Let me buttress
So
that point.
bad.
I'm sorry for coming in.
Please briefly,
Bwana.
Makua, because I want to come to Mheshimiwa.
Yeah, but before you come to Mheshimiwa, a valid point. This is a very valid point from this gentleman from the coast. Majority of those guys who disappeared into gas guzzlers, guess what? They're taxpayer-funded gas guzzlers. Taxpayer. I mean, did you not see people who are beneficiaries? There's that act about the retirement benefits. So the people who are outside Serena, the people who are demonstrating pay taxes, and these are the very taxes that fund those gas guzzlers. So you need to be very careful that wherever, and some of you are economists. In economics, they say that a human being will act to preserve or activate is selfish interest.
the
So when
first
a politician tells you, let's go to the streets, ask you, what are my
is my-
selfish interests in this thing? And am I assisting him achieve his selfish interest? And finally, so that I can also get ice cubes and take a break. Now, there are many people within Mount Kenya today who say that they are now aligned with DCP. But when you ask them, why are you aligned with DCP? They cannot give you a reason. They'll give you a lot of political slogans. But when you tell them now, separate facts from emotion, they will not, because they say tuefukuzwa serikali. And then you tell them, can you please look at the cabinet composition? How many cabinet secretaries do we have from Mount Kenya? How many principal secretaries do we have from Mount Kenya? How many parastatal heads do we have from Mount Kenya for you to say that we have been thrown out of this administration? If anything, the people are supposed to be crying that they're not in the administration are people from Kisii, are people from Homa Bay, are people from Turkana. And you may have noticed that a few days ago, after you guys, you gave President Ruto political insurance to cover an administration with Mr. Raila Odinga, which gave him political now insurance to do and embrace equity and equality in resource allocation. There are a number of politicians in Kenya here who start sweating when they hear that there's an airstrip being put up in Kisii, or SGR now is going all the way to Malaba. Some of them don't even know where Malaba is, and these are people who have served in the National Assembly for donkey years. Why should the part of our society start sweating? They can even get lifestyle conditions on account of taxpayer being used in a manner which reflects equity and equality. And they told me, because you're going to shut me, I'm going to ask my last question, and please, you'll ask the Gen Zs to answer. I'd like the Gen Zs to point out where the 3 biggest public hospitals are located, and the 3 top boys' schools and 3 top girls' schools are located, if you want to interrogate the meaning of equity and equality in resource allocation.
Thank you so much, Mokua, for that. A round of applause for the 3 panelists before we come to Mheshimiwa. And you can see, you know, here at Face to Face with Gen Z, you want to put up a program right now. If you attend one show, you graduate, because the kind of information that you come out of this room, we are going to open an academy very soon. So thank you so much, Mokua, for that. And I'm the only person who can escape without answering those questions. So for you guys, please make sure kuna hizo mashule tatu, check them out, those hospitals, and also the cabinet secretaries from Mount Kenya venye umeambiwa hivyo. I'll ask you those questions. So, Mheshimiwa, maybe you can tell us, because you've been a member of parliament before. And news reaching my desk is that the Honorable Member for Kiaru has actually apologized to the entire country for giving remarks, and he has actually acknowledged that he had not read the finance bill at the time he was giving those remarks. So what normally happens, because it's not the first one, we've even seen the other one for Robert Mbui. He also mentioned that there were certain clauses that intended to introduce taxes on mitumba. But when he was compelled to point out the specific clause, pia akashindwa, akasema, Mr. Speaker, now I withdraw. So at what point do we hold these leaders accountable? Because normally kila kitu kifanyika kwa hii nchi ni prezo, si ni ukweli? But our members of parliament, after the use of CDF peke yake, how many times do we even go and ask them? And then when you come on live television, we want to pretend as if we are so aggrieved. We can, unasikia uchungu kushinda hata mwenye amepigwa risasi. So I think maybe Mheshimiwa, you can help us understand that. And it is also my hope that you can put the convener, I had contributions online so that pia tusikia anasema nini.
Thank you very much, Tony, and my fellow panelists, and of course the Gen Zs. Let me start by applauding the Gen Zs for having reshaped the conversation in our country, especially after the 2024 finance bill. And I was on Thursday, I decided to retreat to my house to watch things from safety, because I thought it was going to be a repetition of 2024. And I realized that people have carried something too far, the politicians. because they thought that the Gen Zs are going to come out again and cause havoc, and they ride on it. Granted, I've been young, and when you are young, you tend to be very emotional because you have a lot of energy, and you are looking for spaces to expend that energy. So it's normal. But the sooner you step over your emotions, the better for you. And I'm glad Gen Zs have done that because the politicians expected the Gen Zs to come out because they thought there would be grave issues with the finance bill. But that was never the case. So they quickly shifted the reason for the protest to be the commemoration of the victims of 2024. But you see, a protest must of necessity be of a compelling reason. I have protested before. When I was young, I joined in solidarity to protest, demanding for the release of President Mandela, who was being persecuted by the apartheid regime. I also joined Kenyans in protesting the single-party dictatorship of Moi regime. And when reasons for protest becomes compelling, it becomes intergenerational. Everybody would come out because you feel the reason. The Gen Zs didn't feel the reason for the commemoration. That is why there was no turnout, because you can commemorate from anywhere. And indeed, I believe they commemorated. And one other thing is that there are many things to commemorate in the country. And when we are commemorating things that are worth commemorating in the country, we need to do it in our collectivity as a nation. The other thing I need to speak about is the compensation. Because I can hear people saying that compensation cannot replace a life. But people forget the background of this compensation. Every time there are victims, there's always a call for compensation. And this starts from the family of those victims. And this comes from the civil society. This comes from the politician. So there's always a build-up. So when the government decides to respond to this build-up, I don't understand how, again, we turn against the government for responding to a legitimate cause, because compensation is an ex gratia. Maybe John knows what that means. And it doesn't mean guilt. It means you empathize with the victim, because we are compensating three categories of people: those who died, those who are maimed or hurt, and those who are raped or something. Those are the people that are being compensated, and their families. And I think it's a good thing. But on the same note, I must say that there are people who have suffered the same fate and have never been compensated. And I think we need to call out for those people to be compensated. Clear in my mind as the victims of 2007 post-election violence. Section of the society were compensated, other sections of society were not compensated. And then last but not least is to your question. I've been a member of parliament, and there are two things there. You need to be a leader to be able to play your role as a member of parliament. And most of people in parliament are not leaders, they're politicians. And the difference is a politician will make your problem, his problem look like your problem. So he uses you to solve his problem. And a leader will empathize with your problem and solve your problem. So that is why when it comes to push come to shove, decision-making time, which is in the House, because the finance bill does not give political bonga points. They take cover and they abandon the people. And I'm aware there is a member of parliament who did not show up and has come out to come and explain his circumstances. I think that is what under the bridge is guilty as charged, and that is up to his electorates to deal with. Otherwise, the agencies, you have the numbers. I don't know how you can pick out leaders from politicians. Then we have a parliament that consists of leaders who put the interest of the country ahead of their own. That would be the best thing to do.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa, for that. And I know you will be putting the convener standby so that you also get his remarks. But we also have a new development here that Gachagua threatens to ask Kenyans to stop paying taxes if Gunism continues. I don't know what you people think about that. But I want to open the floor to the Gen Zs. Also, as you make your remarks, perhaps you can also respond to that, what Gachagua has just said over there. But again, we have been part of the streets, and I want to start with you, Rose, as we come that way. So maybe from Rose we'll move to Isaac. You can tell us what is the effect of the 25th June anniversary on street activism? Has it reduced, has it increased, or has it remained the same, especially looking at the manner in which we activists are conducting their business right now? And also, you can tell us, now that we didn't see any lives being lost, could that also be attributed to reforms perhaps in the police service in terms of combating police brutality?
Yeah, I think police brutality has reduced because from June 25th, 2024, and even as John has elucidated, that police brutality did not start recently, it started way back. But during the 2024 finance bill protest, we saw a lot of police brutality, and the Gen Zs kept on advocating and they kept on saying that we do not really want police brutality. So ever since police brutality started way back in the 1960s till now, at least what I can say is that the Gen Zs were at least deliberate. So right now we have not been able to see much of police brutality as it was before. Yeah.
I don't know what Gachagua has claimed, that he is threatening to ask Kenyans to stop paying taxes if Gunism continues.
I really don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say, but we cannot stop paying taxes because there is where the expenditure comes from, and there is where also money, what is it called?
Which one is that?
There's expenditure and there's
Income?
revenue.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That one. Yes, thank you so much.
It's just it's just political theatrics. Yeah.
Higi haga.
Yeah.
Sawa sawa. Yes, to you, Isaac. Maybe you can also tell us what you think about that, and also what we are seeing in our country today. We have been challenged as young people. Is it perhaps true that some of the times we go to the streets even without knowing what we are going to do there, and that perhaps most of the politicians have realized that we actually, some of us don't read. Hatusomi, so ukisikia tu mtu amesema hivi, ushatoka. And what then can we do as young people so that then we are at a better position not to be misused by politicians?
Okay, first of all, allow me to respond to the request not to pay taxes. You see, you can't tell us to stop paying taxes, then the next day you start complaining that the government is borrowing too much. So that's high level of primitivity that we should not tolerate as a people. And maybe just allow me to at least respond to what my sister Rosa said about police brutality. Okay, to some extent it has reduced, but it's still with us. You can take an example of, I think there was a life lost when people were demonstrating against the Ebola quarantine center. So I think the main thing that made us not to lose life on Thursday it's just because of the low turnout. We haven't had the ultimate litmus test for the end of police brutality, and they were still prepared for to act in such a way because you saw this number of vehicles that have their registration numbers covered, so that you cannot see them. So these are kinds of things that allow us to maybe think deeper and let's analyze this more. So the ultimate test for police brutality has not come to us. Again, maybe on the third question, on the other question on whether on what we can do to not allow these people to take advantage of us is they are feeding on our ignorance as a people. So we have no option but to stay informed, such that when it comes to tell us of what he wants to do, our work will not only just to cheer oye, but let's have some serious discussions with these individuals. I heard somebody say that we can do these things in form of interviews, such that you organize yourself in some groups, and you are the people who invite these politicians, not that they are inviting you to go and give you some handouts. So when they come to your place, you tell them this is what we have, these are the problems that we have. How are you going to sort these things out? From that's when you'll come to realize of somebody who really has your interest at his heart. Another thing that is making us as Kenyans to always regret electing people, we rate politicians based on the amount of money that they give us. So the politicians, they tend...
Hiyo ni ukweli.
That's very
Naona
true.
mna smile.
So some of them, they go into loans for them to be able to fund their campaign. So when he has been elected, he has large amounts of debt that he needs to pay. Then when he recovers this amount from your money, you start complaining that they are bad people. And from that, you may also come to realize the reason why you complain that our MPs are being controlled here and there. If, let's say, if somebody is at a risk of being declared bankrupt, then he is sponsored so that he can maybe pass some bill in parliament. He'll have no option because if the debt can be settled, then the only thing he can do is say yes to some punitive bill.
But Tony,
Yes.
with your permission,
Please.
I think he's made a very important point there. I would want him to just elaborate a little.
Okay.
That of you, the youth, convening and asking aspirants to come before you and you interview them. How practical is that?
Okay, the practicability of that comes in. The youths, we have different groups. We have the National Youth Council. We have, for example, another book called the Law Students Association of Kenya. We have different associations. So when we meet up, because they like when individuals are collected in a place. That's why they go to churches. So when we meet up in these spaces, that is how we can be able to invite them, so that we can be able to discuss some essential things that we are able to do, that can be able to assist us as a nation. And something that maybe my sister forgot. Yes.
Before you continue, you have talked about the NYC and the law students of Kenya. How about the electorates in the villages?
Just repeat the question.
I said you've talked about the National Youth Council and the law students of Kenya, right? How about the electorates in the village?
Okay. The electorates in the villages, we have these bunge la wananchi. So these are the spaces where the politicians, we can engage these the politicians who wants us to vote for them, because politics is something that is discussed everywhere nowadays. It's the topic that is discussed at all times. So have I answered the question?
I think that is well captured.
Thank you very much.
And because you've alluded to very poignant points, and I want to bring in Kevin, because
I think he's lost it a little.
Where?
The way Rose was trying to pursue it, because he was saying, if the people aspiring for leadership, let me call it, can go to funeral and take advantage of people who have collected themselves, can they, in the converse, collect themselves as electorates and ask the potential politicians to come before them for interrogation. And then Rose was asking, because he has talked about the law students, and Rose was asking, how about in the context of the ward constituency and even the county? Where's the forum convened by the electorate to interrogate these people? Because when you go to the Bunge la Wananchi, then that is not a convention. It is like going to a funeral again.
Tony,
Yeah, because
Tony, if I may shed light on, there's an emerging issue. There's a gentleman called Timothy Bosire. He's an ODM treasurer. He's come up with the idea of having a community or county-based vetting infrastructure, that anybody who declares that is going to run for political office, you go face those people at a county level or at a community level, and they evaluate your character, capacity, and competence. You know, wherever we come from, we know that there is somebody.
What about generosity?
No, generosity will not be part of the deal. and we should know, where we come from.
The practicality.
And even these Gen Zs, when they are forming a WhatsApp group for a funeral, they know that there is one of their members who will not become the treasurer, because pesa ikienda kwa account anaenda kupiga sherehe. Now, that is the kind of thing that Bosire is talking about, that every community, they know who has got capacity, competence, character, all those things roll into one, and they vet them, and then those people now can go and run on whichever political party they want, so that you can really vet. Like for you from your law school, I'm sure there are some of your classmates who masquerade as leaders, but you actually know that these guys cannot be leaders. The political psychologist from Kibera, you know, there's somebody who sits in a corner who hardly speaks, but you know he has got leadership capacity. So if we have this community-based or county-based vetting infrastructure, then you can easily pick out. Because, again, some of the majority of Kenyans are not able to make the nexus between leadership and maendeleo. And sometimes, again, society will encourage people to go and steal. How many times do you have a governor from your county who has stolen all the money meant to buy for you drugs, akipelekwa EACC, ana mobilize nyinyi, then you go mnaenda kusema mwizi wetu, and then you lie prostate hapo outside the EACC? How come you keep on electing people who have been, I'll be very vulgar, who have been fingered by the Auditor General, by the control of budget? You know for a fact, this gentleman here would not afford a cup of tea at a 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
After 1 year, he can buy the 5-star hotel. And then you go ahead and vote for him. How come when people come for Matangas, if they come with an helicopter, munawapatia ya kitu huko mbele, then you say our son or daughter has been blessed. And you know he's stealing money meant for your drugs, meant for your roads. Tony, that is a question I'd like to pose to Gen Z. Why we like celebrating mediocrity, impunity, and corruption.
Yeah, but I need to give a disclaimer before I give them the opportunity. You are allowed to say what you think. You don't have to agree with everything they say, by the way. Sawa. So usione ni kama umefinyiliwa ma Dominic. Hii ni show yenu. Feel free na nikupatia nafasi, speak strongly. Sawa sawa. We are here to convince one another, to persuade one another on superior logic. Yeah. So I'm going to pick responses from you, and also you can ask them questions. Kama kuna mali you need clarification, uliza. Sawa sawa. Yes, on Tanza na Rose Evo as we come that way, then I'll come to you, Kevin, tukikuja hivi, sawa?
Actually, I don't have a question, but I just want to shed light on what Didmasa said. I think where we are right now in the political architecture, we have reached at a place where not only the leaders should have manifestos, but also the citizens should also have manifestos. Because a politician will come and say, oh, nitawajengea dam, and that is not what I want as a citizen. What I want is that the youths in my county or my constituency to be empowered. So there is where we should reach, where electorates are also... Yeah.
But is that the case, Nani Rose? Because I've been a politician before and I know. Kwanza, this word empowerment has been misused a lot. Sindio? Na we as the voters most of the times, wanasiasa wakikuja grao, is it really the case that tunatakanga empowerment, hizo vitu kubwa kubwa tunataka, ama normally ni tu handout tunataka?
Most times inakuanga handout, and that is why youths in this country are manipulated and taken advantage of. Yes.
Let me come to you, Kevin. You can shed some light on that, because Naju, you've been into campus politics, and if at campus level already, was tu unaombwa pesa na delegates?
Thank you very much, Tony.
Tony, are you applying pressure on you?
No, I'm not. I'm not in those.
Thank you very much, Tony. Number one, before I come to your question,
Okay.
allow me try to really get myself to make sense. I'm really wondering when in our country or the countries we have in Africa, we try to be more politically correct than what really matters. Why do I really say this? I believe, and I still believe, in the inner part of me, I'm not an activist, but I believe that we can stop the killings and the abductions, not because William Samoei Ruto is the president. Even when any other person is the president, we can stop this. I know it has not started today, but can we get to an end of it? And number two, Article 37 of our Constitution allows peaceful demonstration. Can we remove it from the constitution so that when you go to the streets, don't expect the police to kiss you, just like someone said long ago? Those two questions, if they are answered, I will highly appreciate. Number three, on the same, have we reached at a point whereby we try to justify one wrong with another as a country? Why do I really say this? I don't really like the kind of the tribal clashment that I'm now trying to see. Trying to incite one community against the other for us to be correct.
Who is inciting which community?
I don't really feel, I know where you are pushing me to, Tony,
No,
but
no,
I am
no,
a
Kevin.
political animal. I will speak it out.
Okay.
Yes. I don't really believe that as per now, we should stand and say that during the time of Uhuru Kenyatta, this kind of people were killed. Yes, they were killed. And we still mourn. We still don't really like it. I remember I was in the Nini of Baba when you were away. I came from Kibra, but what I saw, I don't really like to see it again. But I don't really like to see it in 2032 when we are out of government.
Okay, Kevin, what you can do to us to make it easy?
Yes.
One, you can tell us who exactly is inciting which.
All our politicians, actually, if you look at the Rigathi Gachagua side, the only language he speaks is Murima. Today, our brothers from the Luo, and I'm a proud Luo and a proud Suba. I know you wanted to say that I'm not.
You're not Luo.
I'm a Suba.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a Suba.
Proudly so.
I'm a proud Suba. I don't really feel what we are now speaking. Sometimes some of our politicians, I believe we should build more bridges than burning the bridges, because I believe one day those communities that sometimes we are not now in the right, we are not really now with the same political trajectory. One day they will be in power. But how about the development that we have made? Will they, when they are not maintained and everything, will we go back to where we are? I mean this. So today we are getting more development in Luo Nyanza. And I love it, and I thank God for it, because we have been sidelined for the longest time. But then, if one day we will be out of government and these things are not maintained because those people are now paying back, how will we be?
I think the question
and now I'm coming to your question. Yes, I want to really live out of that. I want to get out of that. I am just a political psychologist, and I'm trying to really preempt of what will come in the future.
Okay.
Yes, and does not mean that I'm in one term or two term. I believe in good Kenya. I believe in a Kenya that works for all of us.
Okay.
And now to the question that you asked. May you pardon it kindly?
The question?
Yes. Because
I was just trying to ask
Yes.
you that we as the young people, most of the times we speak very nice English on television.
Yes.
And we allude to the fact that we want a country that works for all of us.
Yes.
But when it comes to the ground, we are the very first recipients of handouts. We are actually asked of leaders to party, even before they speak with us. So at what point do we start holding our individual selves accountable?
Okay, let me start this from the campus politic. Tony knows very well. He came and helped me win at the Catholic University of East Africa. And I'm proud of him as a father and a mentor.
Tony,
Yes.
How old are you,
as
Tony?
a father,
As a father and a mentor, a father
Ziko hivyo,
politically.
guys.
No, most people think like he has not given birth to me, but father politically. Yeah, he was our father at the Honor Comrades Alliance, and he's still. So, at the campus level, the delegate relies on the handout. That's how our society is rotten. Even from the campus level, usipowapatia kitu, you are going nowhere. Let me now come to Kibra. That's where I believe, that's where I live, and that's where I am. Today, you can never, even just to walk, leave alone talking to the electorates. Just walk if you had declared that you are going for a political seat without not only youth but even the goons that wanautupatie kitu ama uendi.
Gonya.
Yes, Jamna and all that. So I'm like, I feel we are not issue based as per now, but how much do you have in your pocket? The more you have, the more we will elect you. It means that they are buying us. And I come to our electorates and my fellow youths. I know we don't have jobs. I know we also need to really do our own, the basic needs and all that. I know everything is sometimes hard on our side, but I don't really feel someone who has bought you can deliver you all that you really want because he has already compromised you.
Okay.
So I beseech all of us as the youths, let us it's better to, you can take the money, but don't leave your brain behind. Thank you very much.
Wisdom. Let us sijawafunza by the way we clock it. Show us how we can clock him.
You cannot have both.
Yeah. but najua Kevin na nasikia toko claps, ndio? Yeah, but it's okay. So the gentleman next to Kevin, you had a lot of questions when Miss Joan was presenting. I don't know whether you remember them. Unakumbuka?
Yeah, I mean, I remember a few. So actually, let me talk about his point first. So actually, I think the reason we actually elect very, very wrong people, we actually elect politicians rather than leaders, is because of the constraints we have. I mean, the problem we have as a society, the bigger one, is lack of opportunities and the initiative to push ourselves. I mean, we also need to take responsibility as Gen Zs. Yeah, it's not always lack of employment. We always try to look for someone to pull us up. We don't like to think for ourselves, see the gaps that are there, and try to exploit them by ourselves. Because in as much as we can say that we don't have capital to sell Mtumba, there is still gaps that are there in the market. We just a bit lazy to actually spot them and work on it. So when our politicians come today and tell you that Kiluva, I'll give you 2,000, go beat Mr. Ogindo Rungu. Yeah, and then you think back about the stares that you want, you know? There's some bang I need to buy, there's a club.
Bang, weed.
I didn't say I don't
Example zako ni deadly, bro.
I don't smoke. So yeah, you think about the stares that you want. So yeah, you think like
So maybe you can tell us, Kiluva, do you mean to insinuate that when you don't meet a politician, you don't eat on that day?
Yeah, well, some people, you know, most of us, yeah, we still stay at home. So eating is not like the biggest problem we have. The biggest problem we have is actually our own. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. So eating, basically, you might fight with your father, but in the end of the day, he still give you food. Yeah, now the thing that he can't give you is actually your stares. Now that's where I'll wait for Mr. Ogindo and tell him, you know what, Mheshimiwa, if you give me 2,000, yeah, I'll do 1, 2, 3 for you. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's...
And that is a really, really downgrade on our part. I think that's basically most of us grew up as a norm, but it shouldn't be. Actually, yeah, we need to think for ourselves, especially the upcoming generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge to the young people who are watching.
Yeah.
Sawa. Wacha tukuje kwako Dominic. I know you've been silent for quite a while, so you can ask a question na pia unaweza respond to what the panelists have said. Kama uko na chochote, tell us, especially kama tumeshakuwa na maandamano, tumekuwa na commemoration sahizi. Sasa what next after that?
Okay, I think to us Gen Zs, we need to take part in decision making, and what we should be doing is holding these leaders into accountable. And whenever somebody comes to you that elect me as your MP, or as your leader, the first thing that you should ask that person, what are your manifesto? What are you going to achieve to us? How do you think that this problem can be solved? Because me, I'm a engineering student, and an engineer is somebody who gives a solution to problems.
That is true.
Yeah. For example, so I believe we have a problem. Let's be problem solvers, not be creating a lot of problems. For instance, and here in Kenya, I see the people spreading a lot of propagandas. I want to give you a single example.
Yes.
There was this deal that I was following, the Adani deal. I don't know if you can remember it.
I can remember it.
You see, JKIA initially, when it was designed, it was supposed to service like 7 million passengers in a year. But as time goes by, the population has increased. In fact, the last time I checked, it's now servicing like 21 million passengers in a year.
Yeah.
If your initial design was 7 million,
Yes.
you are targeting, for example, you're a businessman, you are targeting 7 million customers, but your business has grown. You are still using the same resources, but now you are servicing like 21 million passengers.
Sugar factories in Kenya.
So what we need to, I think we need to expand it. When our president came out and said that we needed to expand it, and we cannot fund it from our budget because it's going to fringe our budget, we need to lease it.
Yeah.
People started rejecting it. Oh, Ruto is now selling this airport for something like 200 billion. So, and Mara Adani is a fraud, but recently that Adani that rejected was cleared in US, and he's now investing. So I think we need to be problem solvers, not be like we're criticizing everything with emotion.
Yeah.
I think we need to understand that is what I have.
Thank you so much, Dominic. Lisi tumklopie jamani. That was very wise of you. I didn't know you were that wise, bro.
Now you know.
Yeah.
He's an engineer.
Yeah, now I know. But you are an engineer. Yes, engineer. Maybe you can also tell us, what are some of the achievements we can point out that resulted from this 25th June anniversary?
Yes, definitely. So first of all, like I can tell that most of Gen Zs are aware, and they want to actually be part of the process of nation building. And I like what my brother, the engineer, said that it's enough. It's enough. Imefika time isa inafaa to stop kupeana blame games, right? And let us be part of the solution. Let us be part of the solution in terms of being creative. Even when you complain about employments, the issues of to do with the tribalism and all these things. How am I, as Steve Biko, being a contributor to the solution? How am I trying to create employment for my fellow youth? Because if you've been privileged to have education, then I believe that should be just a starting point. And as much as it's challenging, but we can always strive to achieve things. And again, Tony, the issue of politicians being different being different when they get the positions, I think it's actually hypocritical. They're just a reflection of who we are as a society. We are actually a very rotten society, right from the very basic levels of leadership, as early as campus leadership, high school leaderships. There's a lot of rot in there. So when we get these people up there, let us not be shocked that now all of a sudden these people are behaving this way. They're just a reflection of us. So let us be more inward facing, inward looking. Let us look at the kind of being that I am. Am I really preaching the kind of things that I want these people to do? All right. Let us not just always be blaming these people and think that it's okay that way. That's my take, Tony.
Thank you very much, Biko. That's a contribute to clock, by the way. We clock it for you also. That's another engineer, a civil engineer for that matter. Let me pick one final response and then I'll come to Mundalo. I don't know whether tumepata chairman because we really need to get his contribution. Yeah. So let me have a contribution. Alafu tuje that side.
Okay, thank you, Tony. My parting shot, let's not politicize everything. Also, let's fact check as Gen Z. Let's not consume propaganda.
Thank you so much, Ina, for that. Cynthia, clock it. Yes. So I don't know whether we start with, you have something very burning, Cynthia.
Yes, I have something very burning. I actually took it from Mheshimiwa when he said that we have a lot of politicians in parliament. So what I can say is that in the next electoral cycle, like, can we not elect politicians? Of course, the process for you to get into parliament, you have to get into politics and then governance. But I think we need to elect people who understand governance. I have been following the UK politics.
Yes.
And I've also been following Kemi Badenoch. She has said that the problem is that these people will be coming, of course, they'll get elected, but once they get into parliament, they don't know how to govern. They had no plan for that government. That is why they keep on resigning. And I think that is the same thing also in our country. Yes, you are elected. What next? You have no plan for governance. So we need to start electing people who understand and know governance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Asante sana. That is well put. See to clock jamani. And I'm happy. By the way, you have done very well as Gen Zs, because yani nikienda huko ni content. Congratulations. Yes. So one final one alafu sasa tuende hivyo, si ndio? You have something else?
Okay, maybe just to echo what she has said, implementing that may not be easy. Electing people who really understand governance to the depth, because the president once said that Kenya is full of average thinkers. So the majority number of electorates that we have in Kenya, they really don't understand these things so deeply. So they'll rely on the politician who is able to criticize the opponent best. So implementing these may not be easy. So it's something that we can do progressively, but achieving it to the fullest is not quite easy. That's my last word for today.
Asante sana wakili. Thank you for that contribution. You know, I didn't recognize the presence of lawyers in the house, but now I do. Nimekurecognize officially. Asa wewe nilikuwa nimerecognize engineers peke yake, lakini nimeona huku umewakilisha vizuri. Lakini yeye ni learning friend. Yeah, any learning friend. Bada hajakuwa learned.
Okay.
Yes, so maybe we can start for the panelists now. We can start with you have,
The last when we have not really answered.
which one?
About the schools and
No, you will answer that. I think maybe we go to chairman, then you go to panelists.
Okay.
So maybe I call him.
Please call him, and then
you can frame a question for him as he takes off.
Okay.
Oh,
he's off. Yeah, can we have Mundalo maybe give us his contribution before we then come to chairman and then to the other panelists?
Thank you, Tony. Well, there has been an array of responses, and I agree with Tony that the depth of conversation today here is very heavy. I think you guys need to know that on one day we had... One day Tony came up with a topic here, and then he discussed it alone because all the people he brought here are very shallow. But then I'll...
easy.
I want to say that, you see, good conversations are actually made out of political idealism. But political progress and transformation is on the account of political reality. The reason why most of us who make a lot of sense when we speak do not necessarily get the advantage of the burden of leadership is because we are very idealistic. And most of the time we imagine the problems of the people. And then most of us think that because you sit at such a privileged place, the people are stupid. And that's why there was a very good question that my younger sister asked and said, if we are going to vet these people, what about those ones in the villages? The question is anchored on an imagination that the people in the villages rank lower than the rest of us. But you'd be surprised that actually sometimes the people who are making better decisions for this country are in the villages more than those of us here. Because it's those of us who are educated that cannot have a decent conversation around the finance bill without one term and two term. But for them, when you explain to them and make them understand, they're able to say, wait, okay, fine, then we can go that direction. But for you, when I'm talking to you and I'm showing you that this is actually a better way to go, after you feel like I have convinced you, you are very quick to tell me, But unajua mimi ni wa want.
Very true.
So at the end of the day, it is not necessarily that just because it's not necessarily that those people in the villages are actually the ones who are wrong. In fact, by statistic, Kenya, in every Kenyan election, over 60% of parliamentarians don't come back. Over 60%. What does that tell you about that voter? It tells you that they actually make decisions. They actually recall their members of parliament. They actually make decisions. But the problem is that we imagine that what we know is all that everyone else is supposed to know. And when they deviate from it, we think they are wrong. And most of the time, that is actually the problem. So I'm inviting us to be very politically realistic when we are looking at these issues. Because when we are politically realistic, we will be able to understand that, one, it's a political reality that some sections of Kenya have been marginalized and disadvantaged from our history, from independence. It's a fact. When we accept it as a fact, we can start moving towards how do we solve the problem. But when we hide behind English words and say, no, we are a nation, we should not be discussing those things, we need to be moving forward. It's good tabloid, it's good for thesis paper, but it's not the reality. And that's why people who are lower in IQ than all of us win elections, because they attack practical problems, but we attack idealism.
Clock it.
Profound.
So we must be able...
Hapo sijashika vizuri.
So we must be able to move ourselves and start addressing issues of the people in their reality, not in our imaginations. A friend of mine who comes from Kisii, once but stays in the US, once came and told me that he wants to be a member of parliament. And I asked him why, and he told me it's because staying abroad, he has learned that it's good for children to have digitized ways of education. So the computer ways and all that. And he told me that was his motivation why he wanted to be a member of parliament. And I felt it is very difficult for me to tell this gentleman that this might not work. But I told him, let's go to the ground and have a feel.
Yeah.
Then this gentleman, when he got to the ground and started realizing that some children are going to school under a tree and his agenda is computer, he started seeing how far he is from political reality. As quickly as he came, that's how he went back, and I've never seen him talk about the politics again. So I'm just inviting us that let us be politically realistic. When we are realistic, we'll be able to interrogate and ask ourselves the questions that my friend here is asking. When we talk about police brutality, when we talk about killings in the streets, when we are politically realistic, we'll start asking ourselves, it happened in the Wagala massacre. It happened in Kisumu during the opening of the Russia hospital. It happened in the post-election violence. It happened under Kibaki. It happened under Uhuru. It is still happening. So, how come something is not changing? Then we'll realize that emotions is not going to change, because every time it happened, people are annoyed. And they are very emotional. But that has never stopped it. So then we'll understand that maybe there are systemic things that we must be able to address. Then we'll go down to the reality of exactly, okay, fine, these demos, how do they happen? Then we'll become realistic ourselves and tell ourselves, but the way, sometimes we go to the demonstrations and then we see shops being looted, right? And after the shops are being looted, our media will cover and say shops are actually being looted, right? But when someone is gunned down or someone is shot or someone is injured, we change that and call it that person a peaceful protester. It's also reality. And I'm not excusing the fact that we have genuine protesters who die in the street. Yeah? But I'm just saying, isn't this also a reality? That we have the shop looted, sometimes the person who is even a goon who is looting the shop, but the moment that person gets hurt, the title changes.
Peaceful protest.
It's called a peaceful protester. So then when we're doing statistics, we say 100 people. We don't categorize and say 67 peaceful demonstrators were gunned down and 32 goons. So we lump it up and then it becomes the average and then it's everybody. And then we face the reality, we'll be able to ask ourselves, how do some of us behave when we are also on the street? Don't some of us stop ambulances from moving?
That is always the first step.
Some of us actually stop those ambulances from moving so that this protest is deemed successful. When we meet these realities, we'll be able to interrogate and understand that this accountability question is not just a question of state, police. No, we'll all call ourselves to order and say there are wrongs that the police have done. But there are also wrongs from our end. When we are political realists, we'll understand that being Gen Z is not a password for you to do anything you want in life. And we also understand that being Gen Z is not just about you being on the side of the protest. No, it is also another Gen Z is also on the side of the gun. Because some of us don't know that we have Gen Z policemen. We have Gen Z drivers.
Lock it.
So being Gen Z is not just because of you being on the other side. When we get that political reality, we will be able to canvass these issues differently. It's also about us understanding that young people from our history have always played a role in the leadership and governance of this country. And so we are not the best that have happened after sliced bread. Because some of us think that this country didn't exist and now young people have just arrived in Kenya, and so we are the ones who are taking the country in the right direction and everyone else was useless. So when we get to that political reality, by the way, you'll be able to understand that, wait, how old was Tom Mboya when he died?
32.
And yet he had made headlines across, meaning actually by the time he started making headlines, he must have been a Gen Z. Yeah? How old is the governor of Nandi County today? The governor of Nandi County should be 41 years. And he's been there for the last 15 years, right? Because he has been senator and governor 2 terms. Meaning he must have gotten in when he was young. So us thinking that in the history of age, we have just arrived and nothing like this has ever happened is wrong imagination, and it's making us have an ego that is not helpful. So when we get these realities, we are able to canvass these issues differently.
If you've never had an ego, you have a right to have any ego.
Thank you so much, Mundalo.
Maybe let me just, as I finish,
okay.
Let me just finish by talking about political experience. And my friend Dismas talked about it. Always know that a politician is seated somewhere very ready to milk your emotions for their personal gain. And it's important for you to realize that no politician sleeps thinking about you. Just like you sleep thinking about yourself, they too sleep thinking about themselves first. The first instinct of human survival is me, myself, and I. And that's why sometimes politicians will call you to the street so that we all go and do what? Demonstrate. But they will come with cars and security. That's why the first instinct of danger, they had a car and security people to whisk them away. But our women who are on this course because of their hearts and in truth, they came there knowing they are coming to commemorate. And that's why they came only armed with their honesty and armed with their truth and armed with the fact that they really want to commemorate. But because politicians came for a performance, they came with tools, political tools of trade. And this must told you that the car they jumped in is a taxpayer-funded vehicle. What he forgot is that even the person who whisked them away is also a policeman paid by your funds. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mundala. A round of applause for the first panelist. Asante sana for that. And just to confirm what you've said, the current governor of Nandi, Stephen Sang, is 41 years old and is serving his second term. And he was elected
he was senator.
He was senator
before that,
at the age of 28 years. Elected senator at the age of 28 years. So
we are not the best things after slicing.
Yeah, we are fairly challenged. So thank you so much for that. Maybe we can now have Joanne give us closing remarks before we head over to Mokua, and then we'll wind up with Mheshimiwa.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great conversation here, Gen Z. I just want to tell us that I don't know whether you understand public participation. Do you know that when you elect your leaders, it's actually public participation? Because they come with their manifestos, and I'm answering to this thing of you being bought. You know, he'll come and he's speaking about, I'll do this, I'll build this, I'll do ABCD. But as soon as he gives you that 200 shillings, you forget that manifesto, that you're part of that public participation. You know, it means you agreed with whatever he told you, including that 200 shillings that he gave you to vote for him. He'll go in there. The first thing he'll want to think about is recover. Is 200 shillings consolidated, and you've given him a tick. You know, I'm also trying to answer to you that, you know, you may not hold him to account after you've elected him, because whatever he told you at the time of campaign is not necessarily what you voted for. Yeah, so you cannot say that I want a hospital, yet you agreed at the time of campaign that he'll build your school instead. I'm just giving an example. So let's be very clear about campaign manifestos that we have as Gen Zs who analyze, who've gone to school. There's something that made me very happy when you were doing your 2004 demonstrations. There was a Gen Z who had a constitution, anatembea nayo, and he kept opening it, you know, to the police. I have a right, soma hapa inasema nini. And I think we need to do a lot more of that. You know, let's read. And also, just to talk about, to just expand on what Advice said around demonstrating and us thinking that it's us who are actually hurt during demonstrations. For every right, there's a responsibility. I don't know whether you understand that. Uko na right, but with that right, it's not an open check for you to do whatever you want. By the time that your right is infringing on another's right, for example, you have a right to demonstrate, but unaingia, you're throwing stones at police, that's a weapon you're using. Do you know that a stone is a weapon? You're actually breaking into someone else's shop to steal.
Bees.
Yeah.
They were throwing bees.
What are you doing? You're infringing into another person's right. It means your right ends there. So when Advice says that, you know, even as you're throwing bees at cops and stones and breaking into shops, and then all that after police tries to push back, unasema, you shot me. Of course, we are not protecting police brutality, but let's be reasonable by the way we demonstrate. I said that teachers demonstrate all the time. Doctors demonstrate, nurses, medics. Mbona hatuonagi hivi uzi vurugu, you know, where there's stone throwing, there's noise. What is different about political demonstrations? It's a question that I'm throwing to you out there. And I want to just answer your question about, you know, us moving forward from state brutality. Are you telling me to forget about Baby Pendo? Are you telling me to forget about the massacre, Wagala massacre? Are you telling me to forget about the 1969 brutality by the state? No, we grow from it. And are you telling me that, you know, giving reparations because the reparations are being given to people from 2013, if I'm right, right? Yeah. Yes. Let me tell you, we'll get requests from people before 2013 as a result of this. So we need not forget those people who were hurt before because we want to move forward. You can't move forward without correcting the past. So let's correct the past even as we move forward as well. And I think that's all I have. Let's be peaceful. Let us read more. Let us not get manipulated by politicians. 2027 will not be good if we continue with these emotions that we are having. And I was telling someone that I think it's even deliberate that these emotions are being heightened like this. Yeah. And for me, I'm thinking Hague. There's some people who think that maneno ya Hague ijaisha. I'm just saying, thank you.
Asante sana, si tumklapie because yeah, I think umeiweka vizuri sana. And one thing stands out for me that as Gen Zs we have been challenged to continuously read, sindio? Tusisome tu WhatsApp status peke yake. Let us also read the constitution na tukumbuke pia hizo details zingine, sindio? And now finally to Mokua.
Now, thanks a lot. Kenya has made so much progress that when an opposition leader or somebody who has been impeached with alacrity says that he may call upon Kenyans to stop paying taxation. In my view, that is another reason for another impeachment, even before he assumes another public office. That is number one. The number two, there's a lady there who said, I mean, she follows the politics in the UK, obviously. And I've come to realize that it's easier for people to resign in a parliamentary democracy than a presidential democracy. And maybe as we look at auditing our constitution in future, we may decide to settle for a parliamentary system, because what has made it very easy for Sir Keir Starmer to resign is that he's only resigning his position. His political party very soon is going to elect another leader, and understand that gentleman, and he may take office a day before the end of World Cup. But again, the beauty with those parliamentary democracy is that the bureaucracy is very, very strong. And it's just not just the UK. You can look at Italy. Even Italy at some stage, there was a very high turnover of prime minister. Even when you look at Japan, India has been very stable. So maybe we need to start asking ourselves whether we need a parliamentary democracy. And then number three, the political psychologists who say it is Luo and Suba at the same time, and proudly so. So I'm not sure which one. He seems to be very nervous that for the first time he can see and he can touch Maendeleo in his village, and he's very nervous that what happens if there's a change in administration. And he raises a very pregnant point. The majority of us, everybody in Kenya blames Ruto for lack of rain or lack of CDF. But they fail to blame the members of the National Assembly who are in charge of resource allocation. You know, they're the ones who come up with those bills. Are we going to raise revenues? Are we going to allocate them? So we must accept and socialize with this idea that at some stage we must accept the fact that it matters not who is the President of the Republic of Kenya. It's your members of the National Assembly who are supposed to pass this legislation. At some stage, majority of the members of the National Assembly or even Senate or elected leaders, they become special purpose vehicles. So it's very disturbing that you have somebody who is an MCA or a member of the National Assembly or a senator who has very lazy interest in the finance bill. Like now one has admitted that he has not read the appropriations bill. Then what are you doing at the National Assembly? So the political psychologists, make sure that you elect people when they go to the National Assembly, even if they sleep 90% of the time. Lakini ile bill kusema how we are going to raise revenues and how we are going to appropriate it. Ikikuja, they must pay attention and ask themselves, the people who send them to the National Assembly, is he fighting for their rights? That is number one. Then number two, those members of the National Assembly and Senate and MCAs must also have capacity for lobbying. Because it's not sufficient for you to be in the National Assembly, you do oversight, legislation, and representation, and you do not know who is the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury. You don't know the Cabinet Secretary for Roads. You don't know the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs. Majority of the projects you get coming to your constituency, it's a good part is driven by relationships. How can you be a member of the National Assembly? Every single day you go to the top of Mount Kenya, you are crying, there are no roads in my constituency. Yet, at the National Assembly, you've not participated actively at the floor or at the committee to push for resources to your county or constituency, and then you don't know the PS for roads, you don't know the CS for roads, and you don't even know who the president of Kenya is. So if you keep on electing people who have no character, capacity, and competence, and the guys who fear meritocracy, you'll be talking like this till the cows come home. Part of the reason why Tom Mboya was a huge success is because of his meritocracy. He was a very sharp guy. But on the flip side, we blame him again, or maybe.
And by the way, he wasn't a graduate.
He wasn't.
He wasn't a graduate, yeah. But again, on the flip side, we push him for session of paper number 10, where they said they're going to invest resources in what they described as productive areas. Productive areas. which was a euphemism of where the current leaders came from. That was a euphemism. For instance, I don't know that there's anybody in this room who will tell me why those avocados at my market in Kis called Kiombu, bigger than your head, they're being sold for as low as 10 bob. But in Nairobi, they'll be sold for a fortune. Can somebody explain that? Let me challenge members who say they are proudly Suba or Luo. How come you've got a Lake Victoria in your village, you've got an international airport in your village, but guess what? That international airport, you only use it for passenger, for guys to move from Nairobi on Friday or Saturday. Yet the fish from Lake Victoria, among the best fish in the world, cannot be harvested and sold in the European Union, in the UK, US. You may say it's a logistical nightmare, and I'll say that's bullshit, because there's a company called Homegrown that harvests vegetables. Right now, they're harvesting them, they're packaging them. In the evening around 8 o'clock tonight, they're going to leave Kenya aboard giant cargo planes. Tomorrow morning, the British housewife will be buying vegetables from Kenya. Tomorrow morning, the European housewife will be buying vegetables from Kenya. I was very impressed that our daughter is now in the business of sweet potatoes. Kenya sweet potatoes from parts of Nyanza are the best in the world. Understand that is what the king consumes in the UK. So if the king in the UK is consuming sweet potatoes from our village, how come it's not done at an industrial scale? Guess what has happened? Is we've had leaders from 1963 who fear that this political psychologist, the moment he sells fish and he gets money and he installs DSTV at his residence and he can read The Economist every day and he starts socializing with Sir Keir Starmer, with Tony Blair, not this one, but the other Tony Blair, with George Bush, you will have capacity to challenge them.
Yeah.
That is even the reason why you tell them, boss, sasa si utuambie mpango ya maendeleo, anasema hapana, wewe chukua hizo mbili, we'll discuss hii maendeleo after getting into office. But again, why do you expect somebody who has gone to office on account of giving you 200 bob to deliver on anything? Because you're not going to mark him on delivery of anything. Now he'll come back with 300 because of inflation. So the first time he gave you 200, next time he'll come with 300 and you will elect him. Because the key performance indicator is very clear. You had a queue, you were 1,000, you were given each 200 bob. The next election you'll be given 300 bob. Tony, you have done an amazing job. This kind of conversation makes Kenyans very happy because at some stage, an advisor has said it, that some of we imagine that you're the best thing in the world. Forget about it. Every generation comes with ideas. We're having this conversation in good part because of people like Mr. Raila Odinga, who stood up and said, we must rock the boat. We are the 7 bearded sisters. You may not know them, but I think you will Google them. People like Georgia Anyona. So every generation has got people who shake the world. But this conversation, as we've had this, I'm very comfortable that my pension is now secure.
Wow, thank you so much. Situjikilapie guys. Leo ni masifa tu left, yes, right and center. Thank you so much Mokua for that, and we really appreciate also you for taking time to be with us. Finally tuko na mheshimiwa. I don't know whether you'll also give contribution ya the convener because hatujampata.
Thank you, Tony, and I think it's been a very, very rigorous conversation going on here. I remember one verse when I was young that says, my people die.
So lack of knowledge.
Yeah, I think we perish because of lack of knowledge. And my friend, you've received a lot of counsel from the Duke of Mosocho, and yeah, I think that's very good. But I want to say the last thing, just to allay your fears. You are celebrating the development in Homa Bay. And you are wondering what will happen if President Ruto is not there and somebody else comes in. Where will the Luo get their development? But the context is this. The people of Luo Nyanza are celebrating development because they have never seen development to the level that they are seeing today. And the development the Luo people are getting is not exclusively to the Luo community. It's the same thing happening across the country. If there are markets being built in Homa Bay, Kisumu, Migori, there are markets being built in Turkana, Machakos, Nyeri, and Wajir. If there are roads Homa Bay had never seen roads when other parts of the country have seen roads. So they are happy to celebrate. And the roads that are being constructed in Homa Bay are the same ones being constructed in Northeastern, Turkana, Kitui, and elsewhere. So it is time now we are seeing equitable distribution of development in our country. That's why we are celebrating the president. And we want to use that as a yardstick for the next president, so that the whole country can grow equitably. Otherwise, we need to decongest Nairobi. And you decongest Nairobi by promoting economic activities in the far-flung areas of the country. I want to go back home, but there are no opportunities. There are no roads. Going home is a problem. You cannot have the rail to transport the produce from that region. And that is why there's no flow of human traffic to the western region to be able to spend their money there. There's a concentration of people in Nairobi, and that is why the economic activity in Nairobi is so high and its environs. That's why Nairobi is expanding, and the region around Nairobi is expanding. You can see what the bypasses have done to the environs of Nairobi. They have all become economic hubs. And you cannot put up an economic activity in the middle of between Migori and Narok, because there's no road. And yet there are potentials there. So when this regime goes, we expect another regime to pick it up from where these regimes will have left, and the whole country grows the same way it is growing today. And I want to leave it there. Let me see if I can get Chairman just to say something. Okay. I tried. I know he's in the middle of the world somewhere.
You just try to get him so that we can have the closing.
Yes, Mwalimu, I hope you have been following. Yeah, then now you have a chance to speak to us.
Let me see if I can get Chairman just to say something. Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
I have had a lot of statements made. I just wished I was there physically, but you'll forgive me. I'll make sure next week I'll be there physically. I want to make a few remarks, not responding to any particular case. But I want all of us, Gen Zs especially, to know the biggest problem we have today is the partisan media. The media we have is capable of inventing and popularizing a narrative to an extent people believe it is happening for the first time. Like when I heard the former DP Rigathi Gachagua saying, if the menace of Gunism exists, he would mobilize Kenyans not to pay taxes. I think goons in Kenya and the world over are always there. It is their use that may go up or down depending on which politicians we have in the country. Goons are always there. In fact, in Nairobi today, if you want Kisii speaking goons, you will get. You just need to go to the correct goon leader. If you want Kikuyu speaking goons, you just need to go to the correct one. If you want Luo speaking goons, you will get them. And that is not all. Goons do not ask you who has sent you. And they do not want to know why. They only want to know the venue, what to do, and how much is paid. So when a goon tells you that we have been sent by so-and-so, no, he is lying. No, that is propaganda. And that takes me to telling you that what happened at the All Saints Cathedral a week ago was a propaganda arrangement. The people who organized that meeting knew what they wanted to do, because such a meeting did not have to be held in a church. It was 100% political meeting that could have gone to Fungamano, to a hotel, or anywhere else. But the organizers knew if the goons were to raid people in a church, that would attract a lot of heat from the people to the government. So the moment somebody suggested that he had been sent by Mbadi, I asked myself, why would Mbadi interfere with a meeting after he had already presented his budget to Parliament peacefully? And the budget was not going to come before the public, but rather before the MPs. So whenever you notice something that you think is a propaganda, ask yourself who stands to benefit. Definitely not Mbadi. Something else that I want to say. I heard somebody, this one, I am sorry, I would have to respond to somebody said, I am a Luo Suba. And then my take is this. Tribe is not in the genes, tribe is in the language. If you are dark like a Luo and speak Luo, you are a Luo. That is it. Forget about these genes. Nobody knows who gives birth to who. It is the environment and the language you speak. And then I want to finally say this about protests. Protests were not put in the constitution as a way of solving societal problems. They were put as a last resort, that when you have a rogue government does not listen to the rule of law, does not listen to the demands of the people, that then you can protest. But these days we use it as a political means of getting back at the government of the day. The protest we had 2 days ago was the most unnecessary protest anyway, because if it was about commemorating, I think we have had more painful deaths that
What happened?
Chairman, are you on? Iko panya imekanyaga waya.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
Okay, yeah, you're back.
Okay.
I am back and just about to go. So I think we are just meant to go to the street, find a few more deaths to raise emotions, and then we hit at the government. Because one thing is for sure, when you call people to the streets, every 100 you call, there are criminals in them, about 20 to 30% in Kenya today. So those criminals will create a situation which will lead to one person's death or another. And this is what the opposition needs. They do not need to send a message to anyone. So going forward, before you think of going to the streets, find out if it is necessary. And Article 37 was not put in the Constitution as a means of solving problems. And finally, and most important, remember, when politicians read it to you, they only read the portion that tells you it is your right. They don't tell you it has to be peaceful and you have to be unarmed. The fact that you carry a flag, a phone, and all that does not mean you cannot carry a weapon. And a weapon is not only a panga and a gun. Anything that you can use to kill somebody, including a clenched fist, that is a weapon. And if these protests were peaceful, then explain to me how Uganda House was touched. Explain to me how the former Ibrahim House was touched. Explain to me how Parliament, a protected area, was breached. It was definitely breached by force. So I think let us be honest and remember, tell the police to stop pulling Rex Masai's mother into the streets and again and again. We have had more deaths and they can't keep on using that mama.
Yes.
Misusing or using. Okay, another failed call. I think we can end it there.
Yes, I think
Thank you very
we
much, Tony.
can acknowledge Chairman's contribution maybe by a round of applause. Yes, so thank you so much for that. I think that is a very good place to end this conversation. It has been very, very interesting. So much to the Gen Zs for coming out, showing up, and for giving us your honest opinions. Also to our panelists for being here with us and for giving us their perspectives. It has been a very educational session today. Special thanks to our productions team, to Errol, Jamal, Faith, and Wycliffe, to Akulapia Pia Sindio. Yeah, they have been here with us for the past over 2 hours, and we thank them for that. So stay tuned here to Face to Face with the Gen Z at REDRING TV. Make sure you subscribe, you share the comment, and stay tuned for more and more of such informative sessions. My name is Tony Blair Onyango. I've been your host. Till next time.